Welcome to the beautiful Crown Melbourne, home of the largest poker tournament in the Southern Hemisphere, the 2008 Aussie Millions. What began nearly a week ago with a record 780 players is now down to the final three. And tonight, these three men fight for the Crystal Trophy and a first-place prize of $1.65 million. Eric Seidel is one of the game's greats, but 8 bracelets don't guarantee success down under.
I think the experience will help, but I don't think it means I'm going to win the tournament.
Mike Chrysanthopoulos and Alexander Kostritsin have never been this far before. See if their young nerves will hold up under the extreme pressure.
Adrenaline's pumping.
Probably I can beat anyone else. Probably anyone else can beat me.
It'll be unbelievable. It'll change my life forever.
The prelims are over. Tonight, one of these men will leave Australia with newfound riches and the title of Aussie Millions Champion. FullTiltPoker.net presents the Aussie Millions. From the beautiful Crown Melbourne, heart of the banks of the Yarra River, the final table of the Aussie Millions continues, where tonight we'll crown a champion. Along with Michael Koenig, I'm Barry Tompkins. 3 men left to vie for the top prize of $1.65 million.
There's Eric Seidel. He's got the illustrious pedigree, but he is on the short stack.
Next to him, Alex Kostritsin, a 21-year-old from Moscow. He's in second place, $5,770,000.
And that's our chip leader, Mike Chrysanthopoulos. His friends call him Mick the Greek. He's a Melbourne native hoping to keep the title here in Australia.
And he will be the first to act. The blinds $25,000 and $50,000 with a $5,000 ante, and Mike C with an ace-jack suited.
And when the tournament gets down to 3 players, everybody wants to quickly establish who the boss is. Chrysanthopoulos is setting the tone.
Mike C raises up to $175,000. Kostritsin folds. Now Eric Seidel. Pocket deuces.
Dicey situation for the short stack. 3-handed, any pocket pair rates to be a favorite, but the deuces against any 2 cards can't be better than 50%.
Oh.
And he's going all in.
This could be a very short night for our 8-time World Series of Poker bracelet winner. You know, Mike C not only has a great hand 3-handed, he's got a whole bunch of chips.
Big hand, Eric.
Ironically, Chrysanthopoulos is sweating the decision, but that man, Seidel, I think he's apprehensive. I don't think he wants to get called.
Michael.
So he does make the call. Mike C going up against the seasoned pro and Eric Seidel. And his rooting section looking for the knockout.
All the deuces.
Seidel, I think, is relieved to see that Mike Chrysanthopoulos doesn't have a pocket pair, so here we are, classic coin flip.
And the flop. King, Jack, 10. Chrysanthopoulos pairs his jack.
Keep it low.
Keep it low. I like his idea. That's good.
Actually, sorry. What am I saying? High. Keep it high.
I think you're right.
When I meant low, I meant aces. Ace is the lowest card in the deck, isn't it? Yeah. Put an ace out there. But no queen. Put another jack or something.
And here is the turn. Seidel looking for a deuce. Doesn't get it. It's a 5 of hearts.
Another 5. Another 5.
The great champion Seidel could be down to his very last card at the Aussie Millions, looking for one of the 2 remaining deuces. He got it!
And Seidel stays alive.
That is sick. Nice hand.
If you have ever taken a hard ground ball to the groin, that's how it feels.
So there is no joy in Greekville. And I'm sure the last thing in the world Chrysanthopoulos and Kostritsin would have wanted to see was Eric Seidel double up this early.
Guess you gotta get lucky sometimes, huh?
Well, Chrysanthopoulos is trying to be philosophical about this, and he really does need to keep things in perspective. He still has nearly $7 million in chips, needs to take a deep breath, get back to playing solid poker.
I would think the scare card for these guys, though, is that Seidel now has almost $3 million. Kostritsin, with a Jack-9 suited, first to act, will raise to $150,000. Seidel folded, and now Chrysanthopoulos with a king-queen.
And Mike C probably wishes he just had 2 raggedy cards so he can collect himself.
Make it 450 more.
Instead, he picks up another solid hand and jacks it up to $450,000.
And Kostritsin will call.
The Russian has position and will get to act last for the rest of the hand.
To the flop now. 8-7-6. And a check from Mike Chrysanthopoulos.
Kostritsin has picked up an open-ended straight draw, a 5 or a 10, and it looks like he's going to bet it.
Going to bet $275,000.
Now Mike C, well, he's immediately reaching for chips. He could just give it up right here. He has only a king high with no real draw possibilities, or he can put Kostritsin to the test.
Which he does. He raises to $650,000.
And that cheap raise, I think, gives Kostritsin a pretty good price to continue with this hand, and it looks like, yep, he's calling.
Chrysanthopoulos hoping for a king or a queen. It is a 10 of spades, and Kostritsin will catch his straight.
Chrysanthopoulos has nothing but 2 naked overcards.
1.5.
He's going to continue to bet, try to sell this story. Kostritsin will not buy it.
$1.5 million is the bet to Kostritsin.
Kostritsin with the nuts can just call here, but if his man is on a flush draw, he doesn't want to give a free card.
Raise.
So he's going to raise.
And that is not what Mike C. wanted to hear in this situation.
On the other hand, it does give
raise.
him just about all the information he needs. Chrysanthopoulos should be done with his hand. He made his play, didn't work, time to fold.
Kostritsin will make it $3.25 million. And now Mike C. has to decide, does he want to go on?
There's no decision here, Barry.
What you got there?
But he's asking for a chip count.
335. 1,335 more.
This is all just free observation time. Mike C. understands that Kostritsin is serious, and that's it.
So he folds the hand, and Alex Kostritsin will win over $7 million. And guess what? We've got a new chip leader. So Seidel delivered the right, Kostritsin brought the left. Let's see if Mike C. can pull himself off the mat when the final table of the Aussie Millions continues.
Aliens. I seen aliens last night. Saw white lights, moving across the sky, boop, boop, boop. Like they coming into land.
Where were these lights?
They're right over there, near the airport.
The airport.
Bad poker face. Doesn't matter when you play online at partypoker.com. It's fun, it's easy, it's the world's largest poker room.
You ever seen the inside of Flying Saucer? Patio furniture. Nothing but.
Welcome back to the 2008 Aussie Millions. We began the final table with 7 players. Peter Mobbs was knocked out first, followed by Antonio Casali. Then it was Nino Murata's turn, and Peter Ling was the last to go. 3 still remain, but only one will take home $1.65 million. And right now, that looks like it could be Alex Kostritsin. He has doubled up on Chrysanthopoulos. Eric Seidel a distant third. I'm Barry Tompkins, along with Michael Koenig. Mike Chrysanthopoulos came in here as our chip leader. He's already taken 2 big hits. 3 players left, Mike. Assess this table for me.
Well, Chrysanthopoulos can win, but he's going to need to manage his emotions and make the solid decisions that got him here. Eric Seidel needs to double up quickly so he can become a threat. Alex Kostritsin, I think he just needs to do what he's been doing. He's shown me a lot of game. He's got a sunny disposition, and he's not at all intimidated by the high stakes.
Well, no matter what, there's no losers amongst these final 3. Third place will take home 700,000 Australian. The runner-up, $1 million, and of course the 1.65 to the winner. Action now over to Eric Seidel, and Seidel with pocket queens.
He'll certainly raise.
275,000. Now Chrysanthopoulos, Jack 10.
And that's the kind of hand from the big blind that I think is worth a call. Try to see a flop, connect big.
And a re-raise to 550,000.
Not a bad play, just a real bad time. Seidel with the pocket queens isn't going to stand for this.
Oh,
And he's going all in.
How much more?
If Mike Chrysanthopoulos would have merely called with that Jack 10, he could have seen a flop. Now, no chance.
1.8 million more for Mike C.
And guts, no glory, huh?
If Chris Anthopoulos is seriously considering calling here, and I can't believe he is officially on tilt.
Oh, cool.
And he does call.
I'm flabbergasted. I mean, we often say, unbelievable. Barry, that is unbelievable.
That was loose.
Well, and there's a self-prophecy right there. To the flop. Two tens.
No.
Wow.
Come on! There is no justice in poker.
And the rooting section on its feet, and all Eric Seidel can do is smile.
Greek flag!
Yeah, Eric Seidel can either immediately commit harikiri or smile.
No choice. To the turn, and now it's a queen for Seidel. And Mike C is devastated.
This is like Shakespeare. One man's comedy, another man's tragedy. What a turn of events. If Eric Seidel can avoid the case 10, he will double up.
It is an 8 of diamonds, and Eric Seidel will move into second place.
Two-outer again. You love those two-outs, don't you? I love you.
Well, Mike C has got to be feeling like there's a price on his head the way the cards have fallen so far. As the dealer takes care of business at the table, we'll show you a bounty of another kind. Earlier in the week, many top pros faced off against this year's online qualifiers in the FullTiltPoker.net Bounty Tournament. In this exclusive tournament, many of the game's top pros have price tags on their heads. In other words, a bounty.
They see some goofy-looking dude with a jacket on in 150-degree weather, and they're going to say, that guy won a World Series event or two.
And the online qualifiers had a chance to collect big bucks if they knocked out the big names.
About half the people here are bounties. It's like crazy.
Here's how it works. Each pro has a starting value of $500. In addition, each World Series of Poker bracelet is worth an additional $200, as is each World Poker Tour or European Poker Tour title. For example, take the Professor of Poker, Howard Lederer. As a pro, his starting value is $500. His 2 World Series of Poker bracelets are worth another $400, and his WPT titles, $400 more. So any amateur that knocks off the Professor wins $1,300.
I'm worth much more than $1,300.
There was a lot more money floating around the room, but the 3 men at the top of the list, Alan Cunningham, David Singer, and Chris Ferguson, were each worth a cool $1,500.
I'm the biggest target. I like it.
Shuffle up and deal. Good luck, players.
The play started off friendly, but things soon got serious as the eliminations began.
We're going to go get drunk. Roland, come back tomorrow, Roland.
The field dwindled as the amateurs stepped up their game, and Russell Rakowski earned the ultimate prize, knocking out last year's bounty winner, Alan Cunningham, along with Howard Lederer.
I'm after Andy now, so. Brilliant. It's just genius.
Several big pros made deep runs.
All in.
But the final table just wasn't in the cards for them.
Yeah. Poker's a sham, dude.
In the end, poker pro Amanda Baker found herself heads up with online qualifier Ben Freeman. But Ben's ace-king gave him the title, Amanda's $4,800 in accumulated bounties, and the $24,000 first prize.
One thing about the money, just playing it one hand at a time. It was more just playing poker.
So congratulations to Ben Freeman. And as we pick up the action back on our final table, 3 players remain. Kostritsa now with a big chip lead, but Seidel in second place, ahead of Mike Chrisanthopoulos. King Jack for Kostritsa. Gonna raise it up, 150,000. And Seidel with an ace-queen suited.
Eric Seidel has gotten hit by the deck here at the final table, and I think he would tell you it couldn't come at a better time.
It will re-raise to 475,000. Fold now to Alex Kostritsa. And he will make the call. So Seidel and Kostritsa to the flop. And on the flop, a queen 6-3. Seidel is paired.
Top pair, top kicker. Seidel will lead out. He raised before the flop. This is a natural-looking play, whether he connected or not.
And he's going to make it 600,000 to Kostritsa.
Raise.
Announced raise.
And Kostritsa has announced a raise to $1.4 million.
I really like this play by the young Russian. I don't think it's going to work, given the strength of Seidel's hand. But Kostritsin is trying to figure out where he's at. Does my man really have a hand, or is he just fooling around?
I'm all in.
And there's his answer.
So Alex Kostritsin gets caught with his hand in a cookie jar, and he will fold.
And with that juicy pot, Erik Seidel moves within 1.3 million of Alex Kostritsin.
So Seidel takes it down, and he is very much within striking range. The final table of the Aussie Millions is coming right back. We welcome you back to the FullTiltPoker.net coverage of the final table of the 2008 Aussie Millions from the beautiful Crown Melbourne. Look at our chip count, and Alex Kostritsin continues to be our chip leader. Erik Seidel in second place now, but look at Mike C. Remember, he began as our chip leader just a little while ago, and he is now very short-stacked. Blinds are 30 and 60,000 now with a 10,000 ante, and Kostritsin with an ace-10 suited. He's on the button, and he's going to raise to 175,000. Seidel folds. Now Chrysanthopoulos. Queen 10 suited. He'll call. So Mike C. and Alex Kostritsin to the flop. On the flop, Ace King Jack of Hearts.
This is a monster action flop. Mike C. has flopped the Broadway straight. Kostritsin, the top pair.
475,000.
Mike C. is going to make it 475.
Kostritsin could call, could raise. Given the fact that he gets to act last, he may want to see another card and reassess.
He will just call.
Neither man apparently is concerned about the 3 flush cards out there.
On the turn, a 7 of diamonds.
I'm all in.
And Mike Chrysanthopoulos says, I'm all in.
I call.
Kostritsin calls for 855,000.
And Kostritsin cannot win. Only a split with the queen. Otherwise, Mike Chrysanthopoulos will be up to 3 million chips.
And he is really in need of this. Double up, Jack of diamonds. And Chrysanthopoulos has done just that, to the joy of his rooting section.
Not really any way for Kostritsin to get away from that hand, and it wasn't too big of a hit to his stack.
So while Chrysanthopoulos and his Aussie mates celebrate that hand, it's time to step aside and learn some of their lingo in this installment of the Down Under Dictionary.
Today on Down Under Dictionary, the word is codswallop.
Codswallop?
Codswallop. W-A-L-U-P, wallop?
Codswallop.
Well, that's a hearty laugh.
Is that like holy cow? No, yay. Is it like good? That's awesome? Codswallop, that girl's sexy.
Codswallop means absolute rubbish.
Codswallop, an exclamation showing disbelief in what has just been said.
Codswallop.
Codswallop. That's codswallop.
Codswallop.
Ear bash.
Oh, you know, it's like what Mike Matisow does to you at the table. Ear bashing.
Matisow gives me an ear bash every damn time we're out there. He won't shut the hell up.
Mike the Mouse.
David Doll.
Woohoo! Ear bashes people. Just in their face, in their face. Is that what it means?
That's when Mike Matisow is at the table and driving you crazy.
Ear bash, verb, to chatter or talk incessantly, also known as Mike Matisow.
He just talks an absolute load of codswallop.
It's amazing, isn't it, that everybody agrees that ear bash is Mike Matisow.
Except all this time I thought codswallop was when you hit somebody with a fish.
Well, action begins with Erik Seidel with a 7-6 suited. And he's going to raise to 175,000 over to Mike C. A 6 suited. He'll call.
Declining to raise, disguising the strength of his hand. Ooh, and there's a big hand.
Pocket 10s for Kostritsin.
Now with a razor and a caller in front of him, Kostritsin needs to define the situation, and the best way to do that is push it in with both hands.
And he is doing just that. He's going to re-raise to 750,000. And that gets Seidel out of the hand.
I'm all in.
And Mike C. going all in for 3,060,000.
How much is that? Just a bit over 3 million. Okay, I call.
A quick and a very confident call from Kostritsin.
And other than having an enormous chip stack, that really was not that easy of a call. I thought Mike C. really set up his hand to look like he had a big pocket pair.
Ace me, baby.
Now his tournament is on the line. 31% chance to survive.
And here is the flop. Pair of fives and a tray.
Not much help for Chrysanthopoulos.
Need a 4. Would be interesting.
He's looking for an ace, running clubs, or straight cards.
And to the turn, it is a 3 of spades.
No help for Chrysanthopoulos. He could be facing his final card.
Come on, Dilla, put an ace out there.
That's what he'll need, one of the 3 remaining aces, or he's out.
Doesn't get it, it's a 10 of hearts, just for good measure, a full house for Kostritsin. That's his girlfriend, Daria Samarkina, and there is joy in the camp of Alex Kostritsin. So Mike Chrysanthopoulos is out. He'll finish in 3rd place. Alex Kostritsin very much in. Almost 11 million chips. But still quite a day for this young man.
$700,000 for 3rd place. Not bad considering Chrysanthopoulos got into the Aussie Millions on a $120 entry.
So it'll be heads up between the savvy pro Eric Seidel and the young gun Alex Kostritsin. The title and $1.65 million is on the line when the 2008 Aussie Millions continues. Welcome back to the FullTiltPoker.net coverage of the final table of the 2008 Aussie Millions. We're down to heads up as Alex Kostritsin has more than a 2-1 chip lead over Seidel. As for our 3rd place finisher, Mike Chrysanthopoulos, he has no regrets.
The 3rd tournament I've ever played in, and yeah, I got to 3rd position out of 780 players, which feels fantastic. But the 700,000, I can't complain. I mean, it cost me $120 to get here through a satellite, so that's a great return. Yeah. I think so anyway.
That's a pretty good payday for him. And these guys, of course, are playing for that pile of money, $1.65 million. It would be the biggest payday of the old pro, Eric Seidel's career. He's got a 6-3 here, and he's going to raise it up to $175,000. Now Kostritsin, and look at that. He has the goods. And he's just going to call.
Kostritsin's playing this hand as though our graphic is backwards.
Here's the flop. King 10-9. 2 diamonds.
Kostritsin's check continues to disguise the big strength of his hand, and Seidel has no reason to believe that he can't steal this pot.
So he bets $250,000.
And given the straight and flush draws, I think a raise wouldn't be a bad idea.
Just flat calls.
Seidel not thrilled to see that call.
On the turn, a 6 of hearts. So Seidel does pair.
Check. Wow, and Kostritsin checks again. Looks like he has absolutely nothing. Will Seidel take another stab?
650.
He's going to bet $650,000.
When this hand began, I think Kostritsin had intentions of trapping Seidel, but the way the board has developed, I think the kid from Moscow might just want to call this hand down and have a showdown.
And he's just going to call.
I'm not sure Kostritsin or Seidel really knows exactly where they're at this hand. They're playing small ball poker.
Deuce of hearts on the river.
That 3rd heart could be an action killer.
Check. And a check from Kostritsin.
Does Seidel have the courage to represent?
No, he's going to check. And Kostritsin will show him the pair of aces. And all that Eric Seidel can do is smile and move on.
You got the max out of that one for sure.
Yeah. Alex played that hand very tricky. It lets Eric know he's going to have to be on his game if he's going to beat this Russian.
I think Alex is a terrific player. I think he's a great, great tournament player, and I think that he's going to be around for a very long time.
He has 8 soft bracelets. It's very good results, and he must be one of the best players, tournament players in the world.
He's got great presence at the table. He's smart. He really doesn't miss anything.
I think I don't feel fear against any pro I play. I feel respect for them. I enjoy play them. and I know that they are very skillful and very good players, but I don't feel fear.
I think this is just the beginning of this Alex story.
Another table. You have bigger one?
$1.650 million. I think I will buy a new house for ourselves, for me and my girlfriend Daria, and I have some other plans I don't want to tell, actually.
Put the money aside. You can't really think about that. You're just trying to think your way around mistakes and trying to minimize your losses. If that was a bluff, I'm quitting poker. But the money, money's nice. I can put it to good use.
Well, one thing Erik Seidel knows, and that is that he needs a lot of help. Kostrytsin with a 5-1 chip count lead on him, and he's not going to be awed by the moment. Ace-king for Seidel. And he's going to raise to $175,000. And look at this. King-jack suited for Kostrytsin.
Heads up, these are two very big hands. I don't see anybody backing down.
Kostrytsin is going to re-raise to $650,000.
With a strong move right here, Seidel can probably pick up a pot close to $1 million.
All in.
And he's going to go all in for $2,475,000.
I know Kostrytsin would love to end it right here, but this is not the time.
Okay, I call.
And he calls.
But what do I know?
Well, a quick call from Kostrytsin. Erik Seidel, of course, is all in. His tournament life at risk, but you can see he's got a 70% chance of winning this hand. To the flop. Queen, 10, 4.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Open-ended straight draw for Kostrytsin.
Nine of diamonds. How do you feel about that?
I'm rooting for you to pair.
If Kostrytsin pairs, Seidel would have the straight, or he would have Kostrytsin outkicked.
The turn is 6 of clubs.
Wow, even more exciting.
That is a very exciting card.
Erik Seidel will have to dodge nearly a third of the cards in the deck. Any ace, any nine, any club, and Alex Kostrytsin will be the Aussie Millions champion.
It is a 6 of hearts, and Erik Seidel will live to play another day. He stays alive as he tries to get back into this heads-up match. $1.65 million at stake as the Aussie Millions continues. Welcome back to the beautiful Crown Melbourne, where tonight one man will walk away with $1.65 million Australian, about $1.5 million US. Alex Kostrytsin right now with a 2-1 chip edge over Erik Seidel.
However, partners, should Erik Seidel double through right now, their positions will be reversed.
That's how quickly things can change. 6-7 for Kostrytsin. And he will call. Now Seidel in the big blind. King 6, check.
Kostrytsin does not want to spike a 6 on this flop.
It is a King Jack 8 on the flop.
And heads up, this qualifies as almost too big to bet, so Seidel checks it over to Kostrytsin and lets the aggressive Russian do the business.
And he bets $90,000.
Seidel weighing his options, raise or call. The call keeps Kostrytsin completely in the dark.
On the turn, a 10 of spades.
Check.
And a check from Seidel. Now Kostrytsin. And he's going to bet $325,000.
And if Seidel didn't have any piece of that board, that bet would work, because that's a pretty scary board that Kostrytsin has just bet into. Straights and flush possibilities and 2-pair possibilities. But Erik Seidel has got top pair, and he will not be forced off the hand.
He calls. So here is the river. It's a queen of diamonds. And now Seidel checks.
The only way Kostrytsin has any prayer of picking up this pot is a bold, some would say rash, bluff. Here he goes.
He bets $450,000.
Look at that board, Barry. Seidel knows if Kostrytsin was laying in the weeds with any old ace, he's now made a straight.
That's a good bet.
And Seidel's going to call.
That's a good call.
Professional courtesy.
Yes, it is. Seidel is going to win that pot. It's worth something less than $2 million. And just like that, Eric Seidel creeping back into contention here. Just about $1 million, a little less than $1 million between these two.
Thus far, Kostritsin has maintained his sunny disposition. Let's see if he gets a little bit rattled now.
Blinds are 40 at 80,000, 10,000 ante. Look at Seidel, ace-10 suited.
Oh.
And he just calls.
Wow.
Ooh. Kostritsin with an ace-queen, we could have some action. Going to raise to 330,000.
Heads up, this almost qualifies as a cold deck. Seidel could get in big trouble if he gets into a raising war.
He just calls. So now the flop. And the flop is a pair of 9s and a 4. So no improvement.
Kostritsin has the best hand. Seidel has the best position.
Kostritsin's going to bet 325,000.
In many ways, this is a battle of wills and courage.
And Seidel will call.
Kostritsin wishes Seidel would have folded.
5 of spades on the turn.
Good card for Eric. Picks up the nut flush draw. Kostritsin checks it over. Let's see if Seidel fires.
Nope, he just checks. And now the river. It is an 8 of spades, and Seidel gets the flush.
And the fact that it was a running flush could get Seidel paid off here.
A check from Kostritsin.
Eric needs to figure out what amount he can get Kostritsin to contribute.
650.
650,000 to bet.
About half the pot. I think it's an awfully tough call for Kostritsin with just a naked ace, but he is getting 3-1.
This is a nice bet. You got your 8, ace 8.
Seidel giving away nothing.
I call.
He calls. And Eric Seidel is going to win another handsome pot worth more than $2.6 million. And just like that, Eric Seidel is our new chip leader. So Alex is going to have to try to shake off that loss. We'll see if Eric Seidel can finish off the kid, take the title and the money when we come back. Welcome back to FullTiltPoker.net's coverage of the final table of the 2008 Aussie Millions. If you like to shop, the Crown Melbourne is one of the finest places in the world, featuring names like Gucci and Harrods, Prada and Versace. If you want it, you can find it here at the beautiful Crown Melbourne.
Barry, did you get your crocodile leather handbag yet?
I did, but they just don't fit on my feet. Meanwhile, Eric Seidel has taken the chip lead over Alex Kostritsin here. The blinds are 40 and 80,000 with an ante of 10,000. Eric Seidel looking at pocket fours.
Heads up, any pocket pair normally warrants a raise, and Seidel bumps it up to 225.
Now Alex Kostritsin. And Kostritsin with an ace-10.
And heads up, that hand normally warrants a raise.
And he's going to re-raise big time to 800,000. So now Seidel with a decision to make. It's going to cost him another 575,000. And he calls.
And the problem with these baby pairs is when the flop comes, you're almost always going to be facing 3 overcards.
And here is the flop. A pair of kings and a jack.
Well, although that flop missed both players, I think if Kostritsin can emphatically represent strength, he can probably get Seidel to throw away the fours.
750,000.
Now, what Seidel is considering, not only the overcards there, but is it possible that Kostritsin has a pocket pair himself, larger than fours? Tough spot. There's really only one way to find out where he's at, and that's to raise.
Or 1.9.
And he does so to 1.9 million.
Now, if I'm Kostritsin, I think I have to fold here.
And he is going to mull this over. Usually very emphatic with his decisions.
He's reaching for chips.
Raise.
And he's going to raise.
Seidel did not want to hear those words. As Kostritsin puts out the chips to call, he's going to consider how much more to raise on top, not buying what Seidel is selling.
1,500,000 more.
1,500,000 more.
That's actually a pretty small raise, near the minimum. I think Kostritsin's trying to send the message to Seidel, whatever you got, pal, I've got you beat.
And you can see by the odds that even though Kostritsin is bluffing, he's still even money to win if he gets called.
Oh.
Well, Seidel folds a giant pot for Alex Kostritsin, who shows him the bluff. His girlfriend Daria leading the Kostritsin cheering section, and why not? Their charge is playing some brilliant poker right now.
Nice play.
The Russian has regained the chip lead. He's got about a 9-6 advantage. But the blinds are not that high, Barry. Nobody has to panic yet.
50,000 at 100,000 with a 10,000 ante. And play continues. First action this time on Eric Seidel with a 6-4 suited. And he's going to raise to 300,000. Now Kostritsin, 9-8.
These are more like the hands we're used to seeing in heads-up play.
Kostritsin will call out of the big blind.
The guy who can earn with these in-between hands is usually the man who wins the tournament.
Here's the flop, ace, 8-4, both have paired. Kostritsin checks. Check. And so does Seidel. So the turn. A king of clubs.
Seidel has now picked up a flush draw to go with his bottom pair. I think he wants to bet here, try to pick up the pot, and if he gets called,
250.
He's got great drawing possibilities.
250,000. So what will Kostritsin do?
Raise.
He's going to raise. And he will raise to 950,000.
I don't think that raise is necessarily because Kostritsin thinks third pair is such a monster hand. I think he wants to test Eric Seidel, and Seidel answers.
And a 7 of spades on the river. So again, Kostritsin will push in 1,750,000 to Seidel. And that sigh is an editorial.
This is one of those fascinating situations where Kostritsin is bluffing with the best hand, but he doesn't know it.
Sucks.
Wow, meanwhile, it looks like Eric Seidel is really considering a call with bottom pair. He must be picking up bluff vibes off of Kostritsin.
I call.
Seidel does call.
Let's go. I got an 8. 8. That's good.
Seidel's read was correct. Bad result.
And it looks like Kostritsin thought he was beat.
What a bluff. I'm sick.
Good value bet.
Put you on a king.
Well, Eric Seidel's chip lead is ancient history. The 21-year-old Russian has taken this match by the throat. We're coming back.
Is he bluffing? I think he's trying to bluff me here. I bet that ace hit. What is he thinking? What is he trying? When the ace came off on 4th Street, he played with his chips. 13 to 1, 12 to 1, 16 to 4 to 1, 8 to 2. Makes my 2 pair good unless I'm drawing dead. I like my chances. I'm all in. We play at FullTiltPoker.com.
Welcome back to this heads-up battle at the 2008 Aussie Millions. Eric Seidel got here by catching lightning not once,
that's crazy,
but twice to break the will of Mike Chrysanthopoulos.
That is sick.
While Alex Kostritsin has been a man on a mission.
Wow, even more exciting.
2 men still remain, and only one will be Aussie Millions champion. So as play continues, Alex Kostritsin has just about a 4-to-1 chip advantage on Eric Seidel.
However, 2 double-ups for Seidel. He'll be back in the lead.
Seidel will be the first to act in the small blind. Ace-queen. And he's going to raise it up to 300,000. Now Kostritsin, Jack-9 suited.
Given his commanding chip position, Kostritsin can afford to call just about any reasonable raise and hope to connect on the flop.
And he does call. And here is the flop. Jack 8-7.
Nice flop for Kostritsin. Top pair, inside straight draw. He checks it over to Seidel, who only has 2 uncoordinated overcards.
So action back to Seidel. And Seidel's going to bet 550,000.
Kostritsin could put Seidel in right here with a raise. I can't see how Eric could call.
2 million total.
2 million total, he said, so he will raise it. And that really does put the pressure on Seidel.
Kostritsin's raise represents just about all of Seidel's remaining chips.
He's just got the 2 overcards. Can he call?
I don't see how.
All right, let's play.
Shocking.
I call.
And an instant call from Alex, and Seidel's in a heap of trouble.
Oh, shoot. I misread my hand.
What a mistake at this point in the tournament. Seidel must have thought he had a queen of spades.
Thought I had spades.
He thought he was even money. In fact, he's a 3-to-1 dog. Ouch.
Eric Seidel needs a lot of help on the turn. It's a 3 of hearts.
With 1 card to go, Seidel is looking for an ace or a queen. Otherwise, 21-year-old Alex Kostritsin from Russia will be the Aussie Millions champion.
Here is the river. King of hearts, and we have a champion. Alex Kostritsin is the Aussie Millions champion. His girlfriend Daria may be getting a new house in the city of Moscow. The first big win of his young and promising career. The final tally, Kostritsin wins $1.65 million Australian, about $1.5 million US. Seidel gets $1 million and is classy about his runner-up finish.
He's a terrific player. He'll be winning a lot more titles. You know, it would have been fun to have a little bit of a longer match and a little bit more, but it wasn't meant to be today.
Well, the party's just getting started because this night belongs to Alex Kostritsin.
I feel very nice, still tired of 5 days of battle, and I'm very happy that I gave such big title for Russia, and that's fine. I feel very nice.
They came in record numbers to this year's Aussie Millions, and it was a roller coaster ride from the beginning. Yeah! Oh! Established pros found the sledding tough.
I suck.
While virtual unknowns became overnight sensations.
Yeah! They called me the bluff machine.
Eventually, the field was thinned to the final 3, and the fireworks really began.
Wow. Guess you gotta get lucky sometimes, huh?
Eric Seidel's momentum was shut down by Alex Kostritsin.
Race. This is a race.
Sucks.
As the Russian's will proved to be too much on his way to the title and $1.65 million.
That's for Russia.
For Michael Koenig, I'm Barry Tompkins. See you next year at the Aussie Millions.